Imagine waking up tomorrow with 10% more energy. You think more clearly, you finish your work faster, you feel calmer, you sleep better. Nothing extraordinary happened overnight. No expensive course, no miracle supplement, no secret productivity hack. The only difference is that you stopped doing a few small things that were quietly draining your mind every single day. Here's the strange part. Most people don't ruin their lives with one terrible decision. They ruin them with hundreds of tiny decisions that feel completely normal. Checking your phone the second you wake up, saying, "I'll do it later," sleeping an hour less than you should, always choosing comfort over challenge. None of these habits feel dangerous. In fact, they often feel harmless. But over months and years, they slowly reshape who you become. Your habits aren't just things you do, they're votes for the person you're becoming. And the scary part is that your brain is incredibly good at turning repeated actions into automatic behaviors. Eventually, you stop choosing them. They start choosing you. So today we're looking at everyday habits that quietly ruin your life. And more importantly, how to stop them before they become part of your identity. Habit 1, reaching for your phone the moment you wake up. Picture this, your alarm goes off. Before your feet even touch the floor, you're already scrolling. One notification becomes 3, then emails, then Instagram, then YouTube. Before you've even started your day, your mind is already living in someone else's world. It feels harmless. After all, it's only 5 minutes. Except it rarely stays 5 minutes. More importantly, it changes how your brain starts the day. When you wake up, your brain is naturally shifting from a resting state into a focused one. Those first few minutes are surprisingly important. They're when your attention is at its most flexible. But social media is designed to overload that attention. Every swipe gives your brain something new. A funny video, a shocking headline, a text message, a meme, a news story. Your brain gets used to constant stimulation before you've even brushed your teeth. The result? Everything else suddenly feels boring. Reading becomes harder. Deep work feels impossible. Even simple tasks start to feel like they require too much effort. It's not because you've become lazy. It's because your brain has been trained to expect instant rewards before breakfast. That's why many people struggle to focus at work or school without constantly checking their phones. The habit doesn't just steal time, it steals your ability to enjoy slow, meaningful work. Instead of giving your brain to the internet first, give it to yourself. Even 10 minutes without your phone can completely change the rhythm of your day. Habit 2, always waiting until you feel like it. Imagine you're sitting at your desk. You know exactly what you need to do. Finish the report, study for the exam, go to the gym, make the phone call, but instead, you tell yourself something that sounds completely reasonable. "I'll do it when I'm in the mood." Hours pass. The mood never arrives. So you promise yourself tomorrow will be different. Tomorrow becomes next week, then next month. Most people believe motivation comes before action, but psychology shows the opposite is often true. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. Think about the last time you cleaned your room. Before you started, you probably didn't want to do it. 5 minutes later, you found yourself cleaning the entire room. Your brain likes momentum. Starting is usually the hardest part. Once you're moving, continuing becomes much easier. The biggest mistake isn't being unmotivated. It's believing motivation is a requirement. Highly disciplined people aren't constantly motivated. They've simply stopped waiting for motivation to give them permission. They act first. Their feelings catch up later. The longer you wait to feel ready, the longer your life stays exactly where it is. Habit 3. Filling every quiet moment with noise. You're waiting in line, phone, driving, music, walking, podcast, cooking, video, taking a shower. More music. For many people, silence has become uncomfortable. Every empty moment gets filled with content. At first, this seems productive. You're learning something, you're staying informed, you're making use of your time. But your brain also needs moments where nothing is happening. Those quiet moments aren't wasted. They're when your mind begins connecting ideas, solving problems, reflecting on conversations, processing emotions. Some of humanity's greatest ideas didn't appear while people were scrolling. They appeared while walking, sitting quietly, looking out of a window, or doing absolutely nothing. Modern life has made boredom feel like a problem. But boredom has always been one of creativity's greatest teachers. When your brain has nothing to consume, it starts creating. That's when new ideas appear. Solutions you've been searching for suddenly become obvious. You remember something important. You notice patterns you missed before. If every second of your day is filled with noise, your own thoughts never get a chance to speak. Sometimes the smartest thing you can do is absolutely nothing. Habit 10 thinking instead of taking action. Imagine someone who wants to get fit. They watch workout videos every day, read books about nutrition, listen to podcasts about discipline, follow fitness influencers, research the perfect routine. Months go by. They've learned everything except how to actually exercise. Knowledge feels productive, sometimes even more productive than action, because learning is comfortable. There's no risk of failure, no embarrassment, no possibility of making mistakes. But there's also no progress. Many people become experts at planning a life they never actually live. They wait for the perfect time, the perfect strategy, the perfect amount of confidence. The truth is, that moment rarely comes. Action creates clarity, not the other way around. Think about learning to swim. You could read every book ever written about swimming, memorize every technique, study the science behind floating. But until you step into the water, you're not learning to swim. You're learning about swimming. Life works the same way. The first business won't be perfect. The first speech won't be perfect. The first workout won't be perfect. The first video definitely won't be perfect. And that's okay. Progress belongs to people who are willing to be beginners. The sooner you stop waiting for perfect, the sooner you'll discover what's actually possible. Habit 4, saying yes to everything. Imagine it's Friday afternoon. Your schedule is already full. You still have unfinished work. Your room is a mess, and you've barely had time to relax all week. Then your phone buzzes. Can you help me with something? Without thinking, you reply, sure. It feels like the kind thing to do. After all, saying yes makes people happy, but here's the hidden cost. Every time you say yes to something you don't actually want to do, you're saying no to something else. No to your health, no to your goals, no to your peace of mind. People often confuse being kind with being available. They're not the same thing. The truth is, your time is limited. Every hour you spend living someone else's priorities is an hour you can't invest in your own. Psychologists call this people-pleasing. It often comes from a fear of disappointing others. We worry they'll think we're selfish, lazy, or difficult. So we keep saying yes, even when we're exhausted. Ironically, the people who respect your time the most are usually the ones who also respect your boundaries. Learning to say no isn't about becoming rude. It's about protecting the life you're trying to build. Because if you don't decide how your time gets spent, someone else will. But 5, comparing your life to everyone else's. You're scrolling through social media. One person just bought their dream house, another got promoted. Someone else is traveling through Europe. A childhood friend announces they're getting married. Within 5 minutes, your ordinary day suddenly feels disappointing. But here's what you're actually comparing. You're behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel. You don't see the arguments before the smiling photo, the debt behind the expensive car, the years of failure before the business succeeded, or the anxiety hidden behind a confident smile. Social media rarely shows the full story. It shows carefully selected moments designed to look impressive. Yet your brain treats them as reality. This is something psychologists call social comparison. It's completely natural. Humans have always compared themselves to others. Thousands of years ago, it helped us understand our place within a tribe. Today, we're comparing ourselves to thousands of strangers every single day. Something our brains were never designed to handle. The result? You begin measuring your progress against impossible standards. You stop appreciating how far you've come because someone else seems further ahead. But life isn't a race with one finish line. Everyone starts from a different place, has different opportunities, faces different struggles. The only comparison that truly matters is whether you're becoming a little better than you were yesterday. Habit 6, never getting enough sleep. Imagine trying to use your phone with only 10% battery. The screen dims, apps slow down, everything takes longer. Now imagine expecting that phone to perform perfectly all day. That's exactly what many people expect from their brains. Sleep often feels optional, especially when life gets busy. People proudly say things like, "I only sleep 5 hours," as if exhaustion is some kind of achievement. But your brain doesn't see it that way. While you sleep, it isn't switching off. It's doing some of its most important work. Memories are organized. Toxins are cleared away. Emotions are processed. Your body repairs itself. It's almost like an overnight maintenance system. When you consistently skip sleep, those repairs never fully happen. You become more forgetful, more emotional, more impatient, more likely to make poor decisions. Even your ability to resist temptation becomes weaker. That's why unhealthy food suddenly looks irresistible after a bad night's sleep. Your brain simply wants quick energy. The scary part is that sleep deprivation happens gradually. You don't notice yourself becoming less focused. You slowly adjust to feeling tired, until being exhausted feels normal. But normal doesn't mean healthy. Sometimes the biggest productivity hack isn't another app, it's simply going to bed on time. Habit 7, living on autopilot. Think about your morning. Did you actually experience it? Or did it happen automatically? You brushed your teeth, made breakfast, got dressed, checked your messages, maybe even drove to work. But how much of it do you actually remember? Our brains love routines. They're efficient. The more often we repeat an action, the less energy our brain needs to perform it. That's useful. Until our entire life becomes one giant routine. Days blur into weeks, weeks become years, and suddenly you wonder, where did the time go? Living on autopilot doesn't just steal memories, it steals opportunities. Because when you're constantly operating without awareness, you stop noticing the little things. The conversation you should have appreciated. The sunset you didn't even look at. The chance you were too distracted to see. Mindfulness isn't about sitting cross-legged for an hour every morning. It's much simpler than that. It's paying attention, actually tasting your food, listening instead of waiting for your turn to speak, walking without staring at a screen, noticing the world instead of rushing through it. Life isn't only made of big moments. It's made of thousands of tiny ones. And if you're mentally somewhere else for all of them, you might wake up one day realizing you were so busy surviving life that you forgot to actually live it. Habit 8, always choosing comfort over growth. Imagine you've just finished work, you've had a long day. You tell yourself you'll read that book, go for a walk, learn a new skill, maybe even start the project you've been thinking about for months. Instead, you sink into the couch. Just one episode. One episode becomes 3. Before you know it, it's midnight. You promise yourself you'll start tomorrow. Sound familiar? Comfort isn't the enemy. Everyone needs rest. The problem begins when comfort becomes your default choice. Your brain is wired to save energy. Thousands of years ago, that helped humans survive. Food was scarce, danger was everywhere, and conserving energy meant staying alive. But today's world is different. The biggest dangers aren't wild animals. They're missed opportunities, the uncomfortable conversation you avoid, the workout you skip, the skill you never learn, the dream you keep postponing. Growth almost always feels uncomfortable in the beginning. Think back to the first time you rode a bike, drove a car, started a new job. Everything felt awkward, slow, even embarrassing. But that's exactly what learning feels like. The mistake most people make is believing discomfort is a sign they're doing something wrong. In reality, it's often proof that they're finally moving forward. The life you want usually exists just outside the comfort zone you're afraid to leave. Every small challenge you accept teaches your brain something important. I can handle this. And confidence isn't built by staying comfortable. It's built by proving to yourself over and over again that you can do hard things. Habit 9, spending too much time around negative people. Picture 2 plants. One gets sunlight, water, and healthy soil. The other sits in the dark. No matter how strong the second plant is, its environment eventually wins. People aren't much different. Whether we realize it or not, we absorb the attitudes of the people around us. Spend enough time with someone who constantly complains, and you may start noticing problems everywhere. Spend enough time with someone who always doubts themselves, and you may begin questioning your own abilities. Psychologists have long observed that emotions can spread from person to person. A smile can be contagious. So can stress. So can fear. So can hopelessness. This doesn't mean you should abandon friends who are struggling. Everyone goes through difficult seasons. The difference is between someone who's facing a hard time and someone who's made negativity their permanent mindset. Pay attention to how you feel after spending time with people. Do you leave feeling inspired, calm, motivated, or do you leave feeling exhausted, drained, smaller than before? The people closest to you quietly shape your standards, your beliefs, your habits, even your expectations for your own future. Choose relationships that challenge you to grow, not ones that convince you to stay the same, because the voices you hear every day eventually become the voice inside your own head. None of these habits look dangerous on their own. Checking your phone, putting things off, choosing comfort, comparing yourself to others, staying up too late, saying yes when you mean no. They seem ordinary, almost invisible. That's exactly why they're so powerful. Your life is rarely shaped by one massive decision. It's shaped by the small choices you repeat every single day. Every habit is like a vote. One vote doesn't seem important, but thousands of votes create your future. The good news is that this works both ways. Just as small bad habits quietly build a life you don't want, small good habits quietly build one you do. You don't need to change everything today. You don't need to wake up at 5 a.m., read 100 books, meditate for an hour, or completely reinvent yourself overnight. Real change starts much smaller than that. It starts with putting your phone down for 10 minutes, going to bed a little earlier, taking a short walk instead of scrolling, saying no when you need to, starting before you feel ready, because every time you make one better choice, you're teaching your brain a new pattern, and over time, those patterns become your habits. Your habits become your character, and your character becomes your life. So as you finish this video, ask yourself one simple question. Which habit has been quietly controlling your life without you even noticing? Because recognizing it is the first step toward changing it. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments, which habit are you going to break first? We'll see you in the next one.